Welcome to this overview of social emotional learning. And I would like to thank the SchoolRubric team for making this possible. We're going to look at what it is, why does it matter, and where do we start. To begin, I'll tell you a bit about me. For a decade, I led school-wide social emotional learning programming. I facilitated professional development at school, district, and faculty of education level. And for that work, I was awarded an Excellence in Education certificate. My first book in a planned series for parents was published on Amazon in February of 2020. That book connects to parenting tips and coaching on Instagram. I do a divorce coaching at the divorce magazine UK called Letters to Linda. And here at SchoolRubric, I am an opinion contributor. All of my work is based on social emotional learning principles. So what is it? At its most basic level, at most immediate level, every day of our lives, in some way, we are involved in relationships with ourselves, with our families, our friends, our co-workers. We listen, interact, form opinions, and draw some conclusions. In the last 10 months or so, you have navigated life with some success, I hope, because of your emotional agility, the ability to respond to life challenges in a positive manner. And through it all, living your life, you have applied your emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, that capacity to understand and manage your emotions. Everything in what I have just said and what you are about to hear in this presentation requires social emotional learning. There are other terms. When I first became involved facilitating and coaching, it was a lesser known term, but we did use conflict resolution, resiliency training, anger management, and social skills training. All of that and more come under the social emotional learning umbrella. So holistically, what is it? If we take a look at this slide, this diagram explains the core elements of social emotional learning. We're going to go around the circle, but we'll start with the nucleus of this cell, the CASEL Wheel, clockwise, starting with self-awareness. And that is recognizing who we are, that capacity to name our emotions, being happy, being sad, confused, that ability to identify our character strengths as well as our weaknesses without being overly critical, acceptance of who we are, having a growth mindset, that personal power of positive thinking. The next section, self-management. That's where you find emotional agility and resiliency. We know how our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors happen in different situations. There's self-discipline here and personal stress management skills. And we also know how to set our own goals. The next one, responsible decision-making. That is the capacity to separate the problem from the person using problem-solving skills. We can identify and name problems. We can find solutions this is where critical thinking skills come in, identifying the facts of a situation and drawing conclusions. And with responsible decision-making goes the ability to anticipate outcomes or consequences. Then relationship skills. This is where we can develop and maintain healthy relationships, beginning with the relationship we have with ourselves, because it sets the tone for others. The longest conversation we have in life is with ourselves. We can identify the markers of healthy relationships. We understand the need for and the importance of inclusivity. We possess effective communication skills, have the capacity to actively listen, which is different from just listening, conflict resolution skills, leadership skills, and willing to stand up for the rights of others. And then finally, social awareness. We can see beyond the noise, have effective analytical skills, empathy, respect, knowing and identifying ethical behavior, and understanding the importance of these attributes. And we also see the importance of inclusivity, respecting diversity, and fostering compassion. The outer membrane of this wheel is what holds it all together. Effective SEL doesn't just happen in a vacuum or a single classroom. It is part of a whole societal picture. The classroom is the first section in the outer circle, but then we need a school culture. We need an administration that supports and encourages it. And finally, that outer layer that holds it all together is home and community. Educating parents has been a goal of mine for the past decade. It's important to think holistically for successful social emotional learning to be a solid part of a societal framework. Why does it matter? Not surprisingly, everything old is new again. Aristotle, many, many years ago, said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Most recently, the Crimson Study, which was an 80-year longitudinal study by Harvard University, asked the question, what contributes to physical and emotional well-being? Just as an aside, an interesting part of that, John F. Kennedy was part of the original study. They found that good relationships do not just protect our bodies, they protect our minds. We form meaningful relationships with good interpersonal skills, which is all part of social emotional learning. As well, we now have several decades of specific SEL research, and there are many studies that have been completed, but for this presentation, I am going to focus on two data outcomes that I feel are truly relevant. One is on the classroom and the other on the future. The first is that it's been proved there is an 11% academic gain found in schools with solid SEL curriculum embedded. What does that look like? Embedded in it is improved classroom behavior, increased ability to manage stress and depression. Students have better attitudes about themselves, about others, and about the school in general. Healthy social skills means improved academics. And the second is that by investing in SEL education, you are investing in your students' future. Research has determined benefits were seen a full 18 years after the SEL program's instruction. So what does that look like? Multiple individual and social benefits, higher education, stable employment, reduced criminal activity, reduced substance abuse, and improved mental health. The world needs responsible, productive, caring, and engaged citizens. To achieve that requires more than pure academics. We need to grow the heart as well as the brain. So where do you start? For any educator interested in really understanding social emotional learning, there is no better place to start than with CASEL.org. Created in 1994, CASEL stands for the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, and it is the gateway and has now become the world leader in SEL research, coordination, and program promotion. CASEL's mission is to support education to ensure social emotional learning is an essential part of education. Social emotional learning has earned recognition and its place in education. However, school districts often will say that we have a SEL approach to our education. My own Ministry of Education here in Canada put it in their guidelines, but it usually finishes with a line such as, "and teachers will deliver." If that sounds familiar, we know what happens. The teachers look at each other and walk away and think, well, but how do we do that? And this is where CASEL comes in. A very, very clear understanding of SEL is the first step. It is a big topic. Become familiar with the material on CASEL.org. CASEL has positioned itself as the organizational nerve center of SEL. You will find extensive definitions, research that supports the benefits of SEL, professional workshops, and other material that as an educator will be invaluable in helping you to understand this topic. It is important to do that because that is how you elevate your teaching from following programming to infusing it in every aspect of your teaching. But first, use one of the many CASEL approved programs out there that gives you a solid understanding of what SEL is about. I can refer you to the SchoolRubric article that I wrote about PeaceWorks, which is a CASEL approved program, but look around and see what suits you, what fits with your teaching style. There needs to be administrative support and community engagement and implementing appropriate outreach. So if you are going to be the lead person on staff, I highly recommend that you mentor other members of staff to take your place if you should happen to leave the school, because the program can lapse if there isn't that leadership. So this diagram offers the overarching aspects of a comprehensive SEL approach from classroom through to the community. It should be a way of thinking that flows through the educational arena to the outer society. Success looks like the class, the school, and the outer community own it. And if you have any questions about getting started, about next steps, please contact me either at my email or on Twitter, and I am happy to offer any SEL coaching tips and encourage anyone out there to implement it in their school. Thank you so much for spending time here.